right, we are ready to start learning how to draw things. So in this video, I'm going to use lines to draw a basic empty room with a door and a window. We will be using the line commands, the fillet command, the offset, trim, and move commands, and we will also touch a little bit on how to draw arcs and rectangles. So I'm going to start inside of my ID template, and if you do not have this ID template, go ahead and start a new drawing. Be sure to type units and set your drawing units to architectural. Otherwise, you will be drawing in decimals. You'll be frustrated because you're not going to have very accurate drawings. So my ID template already has that setting configured, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit cancel. Alright, well, you've been getting to know how to draw with lines already, but let's just do a real basic recap of drawing with lines. How do I start drawing a line? There are two ways. You can either click on the button located in the ribbon, and for this particular command, line is located in the Draw panel of the Home tab, and it's right here, very first thing. Now if you hover your mouse, it'll give you a how-to little segment here. And if you look at the very bottom, you'll see where it says press F1 for more help. Right above there is the word line. So you can either press the button or you can type line. So anytime that you want to know the keyboard command, this is where you go to find out what that keyboard command is for that particular command that you're trying to start. So I'm going to go ahead and type line. So I'm going to move my cursor back down into model space, and I'm just going to type line, L-I-N-E, enter. And you'll see that my cursor changes and it says specify the first point. That's what I love about AutoCAD, is that you start a command and it's going to tell you what your next step is going to be, either at the cursor or down below at the command line. So if you ever get lost, be sure to check both of those places for what your next step is supposed to be. Alright, so specify a first point. I am just randomly going to start. Remember that we always try to draw on the right side of the green line and above the red line. It's just the proper thing to do when we draw. Alright, so click to start the line and you'll see how it attaches to your cursor. If you want a perfectly straight line, be sure that you have your polar tracking or your Pac-Man dude down at the very bottom right hand corner of your screen. Make sure he's turned on. If he's turned on, you get that extension line that's green and dashed. That just means that you're perfectly straight. You can also type a measured line. So if I want a 15-foot line, all I do is I type 15 and apostrophe. Now, if I didn't have the apostrophe, AutoCAD interprets that as inches, so it would have drawn 15 inches, but I want foot, so I have to add the apostrophe at the end of the number. So 15 apostrophe enter, and I've just drawn a 15-foot line. Now your command will always want to continue drawing, and honestly, we kind of want to continue as well. So I'm going to go straight down. Let's do 6 foot. 6 apostrophe enter, and it has already created that line for you. Now, one of the cool things about AutoCAD is this little guy down here, and it is the object snap tracking. It's very similar to object snapping, except that, for instance, if I want to draw a line that aligns with that one up above, I can hover my mouse while I still have the line command started, and I slowly bring my mouse down and you'll see that it gives me another tracking line. So it's helping me guide my way, and now I have 2 tracking lines to show me exactly where I need to put the next point to be perfectly aligned. And then I just come right back up, and I'll either get an X or a box. Either one will work, and that will help me finish this rectangle. Alright, let's do that one more time just to kind of help you get practice. Line, start it. Let's go over 4 feet this time. 4 apostrophe, enter. Straight down with that polar tracking. Let's do 8 foot this time. 8 apostrophe, enter. Now I'm going to make sure that my little alligator, that's what I call the object tracking, the alligator has to be turned blue, and then I hover my mouse. I'm not clicking, I'm just hovering my mouse and then pulling down, and that helps me find exactly what I'm looking for. There we go. So if I click here, it'll put a point on that next line that aligns perfectly with the one on top, so that I can just come up and click and snap it, and there we've got the box. Now what I didn't show you before, and I apologize, is how to end the line. So that's escape, enter, or space bar to end the line, or you can right click with your mouse and hit enter or cancel. Either of those will work fine. And now you're all of a sudden out of that command. So anytime that you're trying to end a command, my finger is always on the escape button. That's my button of choice. Any of those options is absolutely fine. There's no right or wrong. Just choose the one that works best for you. Escape, enter, spacebar, or right click, enter, or cancel. All right. So if we click on one line, you'll notice that it highlights in blue and that there's 3 blue boxes. Those are called grips. The end grips will allow you to move the end point of the line. The center box will allow you to move the entire line. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to come here. Another cool thing about that alligator button is, let's say that I want to actually take this line and move it up 2 feet. I can grab it from the center, move up in that general direction, and I don't have to go very far at all. I can just type 2 feet, enter, and it'll move that line perfectly in a 2-foot increment. So just to demonstrate that one more time, I'm going to do Control Z to undo that move. I hold down Control and Z at the same time. I'm going to click on that line. I'm going to grab it from the middle, and I'm just barely going to move it. Like right now I'm at 3 inches. As long as you're moving in the direction that you want to move, AutoCAD will be smart enough to understand what you're trying to do. And once I have that green tracking line, I can type 2 apostrophe enter, and it knows to move it from the original place that it was located up 2 feet. That's the alligator beak. That is your object tracking. Very important button to always have on, and honestly I always have those 3 buttons down there turned blue. Alright, I'm going to Control Z once again to undo that particular move so that I have my boxes. Now if I wanted to select 2 lines at the same time, I could click on both lines, and notice that as you hover your mouse over, it kind of makes it bolder. That just indicates that you're about to select something. So click to select. There I have both lines selected. If I wanted to move like this grip and get a very nice looking rhombus, I could, and there it is. It's very beautiful. I'm going to Control Z to undo that again. But if I want to, I can use what's called a selection box. And there's 2 selection boxes that you could choose to work with. If I click and move my cursor to the top left, you'll see I get a green box. And if I move my cursor into the bottom right, you'll see it becomes blue. So what do those colors mean exactly? Well, the green, as soon as it touches something, it's going to highlight it or make it bold, which indicates that you can select it at that point. So if you click to finish your selection box, you'll see that it can select your lines. I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going to try that again. Click and go up to the left, and you'll see how it kind of ghosts or bolds those lines. As soon as you click again, it means that they select. Now I'm going to go up here to the top of this object, and I'm going to go the opposite direction and get the blue box. Notice that the lines are not highlighting until one is completely inside of the box. So that's the difference between the colors. The blue box, the line or object, has to be completely inside of it in order to select it. The green box simply has to touch it. And I always think of Slimer from Ghostbusters because he was green and anything he touched got slimed, right? So basically you're sliming your objects, if you want to think of it that way. But anything you touched got slimed, so anything you touch with the green box is going to get highlighted. Alright, so if I felt the need to delete an object, I can definitely hit delete on the keyboard. So delete. Once it's highlighted, once it's selected, I can also, let's select this box over here. I always like the green one over the blue one. That's just kind of like my go-to one. I can right click and also hit erase. So either option is fine. None is better than the other. It's all about your personal preference. Alright, and that's basically what you need to know about lines.